All right, so I have a hot take, and my hot take is that artists are the reason why AI art is so pervasive, why it's happening so much, why so many people are using AI art. So I'm in a series of different art groups, and one of the things I see most common, there's really two things I see a lot. There are some people who join up as artists, but post a lot of AI content. And it's like blatantly AI content. It's not like they're even trying to hide it. To be honest, I think a lot of them are actually trying to troll just to get a rise out of the people in the group. And then there's the other half of the people who are actually artists. Now, whether or not they're beginner artists or expert artists is irrelevant, but there are people in the group, the other half of the people are actual artists. And as I'm kind of scrolling through these art groups, what I tend to find, what I notice a lot, is all of the AI art gets pushed heavily. All the AI art gets tons of engagement. It's all negative engagement for the most part, but it's a lot of engagement. On the other hand, you'll see like an artist who is like brand new, like clearly brand new at art, which is fine. And they'll post their content and say like, hey guys, I'm starting art. I just got into this like maybe a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, maybe a year or so ago. And I want feedback on my piece. What would you recommend? Or they'll just share it for the sake of sharing it. Crickets. No likes, or maybe like one like, maybe one heart here and there. Maybe like, I think the most I've seen is like 15 reactions to content like that. No comments. Or if there are comments, there are very few comments. Maybe like one person comments, two people comment. And so I kind of wanted to just share the post with you guys, give more context to my thoughts on this, and kind of go from there. So just to kind of read the post, kind of random, and I want to know everyone's thoughts on this, but I think artists can be a bit hypocritical without realizing it. I often see people in these groups make AI comics. I'll be honest, most don't look great. Some look like they could have a decent story though. Admittedly, I'm one of the few artists that care 0% about people using AI in music or in art. But I want to point this out. Whenever I see AI comics, the group erupts and everyone bashes the person. That's fine. If you don't like AI in a group for traditional and digital artists, I completely understand, because that's the point of the group, for digital and traditional artists to congregate, gather, be a community, whatever. But when I see people actually trying to draw and create comics, I hear crickets. Those posts get 0 to barely 15 likes and hardly any comments or praise. Very little solid feedback. Few people sharing their content, basically ignoring what the artist has created. We hate AI art, but we won't encourage real artists. Then we wonder why people switch to the faster, easier option. To be honest, if I knew that my comic book page or illustration that took me 8+ hours would get ignored, and my art that took 5 minutes, that might look better depending on your preferences, at least get some attention, using AI would be the logical route, assuming you're just trying to get attention and maybe sell it to a non-artist who gives no fucks about the craft or process and just wants to create a finished result. Just my take. As communities, we should actually do a better job to promote and push artists. If you're genuinely upset about AI and don't want that to be the norm. So that's what I posted. And my bad, by the way, if you hear like a crying baby in the background. There's someone with like a baby here in my apartment complex. They're freaking out. But I posted that. And to be honest, I kind of was expecting initially to get like slightly a mix of feedback, but not like a lot of negative feedback. Like I kind of thought more people would be on board and go, yeah, you know what, you make sense. Let's all support and let's all come together and let's support other artists in the group. Let's just ignore the AI haters. And so I got a lot of like hate. I got so much hate actually that in some of the groups, the admin actually prevented me from like leaving comments, because this is just my 2 cents. Like what I like to do is I like to have open dialogue. I like to have open conversation. So if I put out a point, I'm okay with people disagreeing with the point, but what I don't like is when you disagree from an emotional standpoint. Like if you have good logic, or if you have good reasoning that can counteract my points, if you have like a good reason why you don't agree with me, cool, don't agree. Because I might change my mind. I'm super open to changing my mind. I want to actively change my mind a lot of the times. But if you just prevent me from speaking, to me that almost demonstrates that you have no point and you just want to be right. Like you don't have anything to say, but you just don't want to be wrong. You just want to be right, so you just shut me up, which is disingenuous in my opinion. So I want to read a few of the comments and kind of give my like take on some of the things that people said. Okay, so this person put, getting negative attention on a comic nobody will buy is a greater thing for you. Why fucking yikes? I guess yikes. Blame the algorithm on Facebook for what people actually see. And so a lot of people gave like similar comments like, oh, it's the algorithm, it's the algorithm. And me personally, I don't know the programming of the algorithm, but I'm gonna say that's just bullshit. The reality is this, on Facebook, people post content and most people post like spicy stuff. Some people do post spicy like sexual stuff, but people post things that are intended to get a emotional reaction out of you. They post it, you react because most people aren't in control of their own brains. Most people just respond to the way they feel in the moment. That's intentional. And that shows that type of content more on your feed, which was my point. My point was that people posting AI content intentionally do it because it pisses you off, but you don't have to get pissed off, right? You can just ignore it. And you can instead take the energy that would lead to, like take the energy of you getting pissed off, put that energy into just supporting another creator, right? And then you don't have to get pissed off anymore. You'll never be pissed off again because you won't see that type of content. That content will go away because no one will be incentivized to post it. So he puts, getting negative attention for a comic nobody will buy. My point in the post was that there are great comics as well that people don't interact with because it's not AI. Like when people post AI, whether it's good or bad, people comment, people get mad, people engage. But I've seen art where it's like fantastic. It could be Leonardo da Vinci himself painting like the Mona Lisa or painting some crazy art or showing that he, whatever, made this like great sculpture or painted the Sistine Chapel, whatever it is. People won't engage with it. And that's my point. You're upset that AI artists exist, AI artists, but you won't support the non-AI artists. You won't make them hire the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't by default push AI. That's not the way it works. The algorithm pushes AI because you tell the algorithm, give me more of this, show me more, which just means that more people will say, oh, well, AI gets, whenever I post AI content, it gets tons of engagement. Whenever I post normal art, it gets no engagement. So what does that mean? I guess I'll post more AI art because everyone wants to get attention nowadays, right? That's the way the world is. We all live in an attention economy. But that was my point, and I think he missed the point. Stupid take on his part. Next person. Maybe you'd feel differently if you were an artist who produced actual work. And I'm going to say this. For anyone who follows me on YouTube, I do. I write. I've written multiple books myself, nonfiction. I wrote my first fiction book last year. It's short, but I still wrote something. It's still, I still took the time to actually sit down and write something. And I do draw quite a lot. I've been taking drawing classes, and for the past 2 years straight, I've pretty much drawn every single day. You can ask my wife. Literally, I think I've missed last year 7 days. Out of 365, I missed 7 days. So I've literally drawn pretty much every day. And so far this year, I've drawn pretty much every day. In the past 2 years, I've created 3 one-shots. The first one-shot that I created was about 5 pages. Second one-shot was about 20 pages. Third one-shot was about 30-something pages with bonus content. And then I started making a comic book. And so far with the comic book, I've created 2 full chapters, both of which are about 20-ish pages with bonus content included. And as we speak, I'm working on chapter 3. I think as of now, there's going to be about 15 pages in chapter 3, and I'm on page 14. So this person right here, the assumption is that because I don't care negatively about AI, I am pro AI or whatever, and I am pro AI. I will admit that. I don't dislike AI. I think AI is a net positive. But the idea of saying that I feel differently if I produce something is obviously blatantly incorrect, because I have produced stuff and I don't feel different. This is my opinion as someone who's created something. And it doesn't negate the fact that whether I created something or not, it doesn't change the stance that you should just support other artists. As is, you have no dog in this fight. Incorrect. I do have a dog in the fight because I'm an artist in an artist group. You're just chiding people who are mad that their work is being stolen and other people are making money off it. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've said this in other videos. People keep saying that AI steals their art. AI does not steal your art. AI just references a bunch of stuff that gets put into, it takes tons of different content, looks at it, finds patterns, and then memorizes those patterns so that when you ask for something, it gives it back to you. I've said this before. Humans do the exact same thing. I don't know why artists believe that their art specifically is getting like stolen. I've said I've said this in the past. There's two things that can happen to get your art stolen. This, like, in the reality, in the grand scheme of things, you're either so well known that your art cannot be stolen because if someone tried to steal it, if someone tried to steal like your style or your like type of creativity, people would call them out on it, and so you can't steal it. Like, I'm trying to think of someone. Like, you see some like old classic cartoons, like a Mickey Mouse type thing, for example, those rubber hose type cartoons. It's tough to steal that. And I know you can't, it's more of a style, but there are some styles that are difficult to steal. Or even like Disney. Disney, a lot of times, like you see like modern day Disney, people actively try to create characters. But even when they try to create characters that aren't technically Disney characters, they use a certain Disney aesthetic that's like known to Disney. And it's easy to spot. But the moment you use that aesthetic, people know, oh, that's Disney. So you can't really steal it because it's like a brand almost, like it's embedded in that style. So if you're well known enough, your art can't be stolen. It's not possible. And if someone steals your art and no one knows that it's stolen, it's because you're not well known, in which case, get more well known. Like you can't steal things. How do you steal concepts? That's all art is. It's just concepts being put on paper or on whatever medium you choose to use. Oh, so if you make a sketch and someone also makes the same sketch, then they stole it. It's a sketch. Like, what are they stealing? Now, I think in the grand scheme of things, sure, if I created, for example, a specific character and I saw my character verbatim pop up in like other materials, then yeah, that's stealing because they didn't create that thing, and it's not, the combination of different elements is not something that they came up with on their own. They like just ripped it off. And that's understandable. And if that were the case, then that's bad. But that's not what AI does. With AI, you might put in like, give me a knight with like black armor. It's not taking some knight with black armor that already exists and just generating it on your behalf. It's taking a bunch of different, like hundreds of millions of data to identify what a black knight is, what elements make up a black knight, and it's creating something with like basically a composite of all the things that it comes up with. And at that point, if you're an AI artist, you sit there and you tweak it. You tell it to change certain aspects of it. I know in ChatGPT, you can highlight different parts of a picture and just say like, change this, make this bigger, make this a certain color, make this way, stylize something this way. You can like actually just tell it what to do. And similar to just speaking into Photoshop, it does it. So when people say like, your art's being stolen, it's not stolen. You don't own concepts. You don't own the idea of like hands or feet or hair or like eyes or anime. You don't own these things. So it's just a stupid take in the grand scheme of things. They said maybe instead of posting all these words to justify what's happening, you should shut the F up and listen. Doesn't make any sense. Listen to who? You're not saying anything. I gave my point. I'm the one who gave the point in the first place. Or better yet, learn to create your own so you don't have to justify whatever slop you're planning on prompting the machine to make. Again, I draw. I create stuff on my own. Like, this person I think is assuming that I'm pro AI because they didn't take the time to actually read my post, which goes to my original point. AI, artists are hurting themselves by behaving this way. Because you posting this, like if I were someone who used AI, this does not disincentivize me from using AI. I'll still use AI if I actually like wanted to. Like, you're not hurting my feelings by saying, oh, post your slop somewhere else. Like, okay, I will. I'll keep posting my slop. I'll post it here too, because I'm not getting banned or disincentivized from doing so. But you make other artists like me not care about your cause. Like, I'm trying to help you and you're pushing me away. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't help your cause at all. Someone else said, this is not a person. It's an AI bot making AI posts about AI. Last I checked, I'm real. Surprise, surprise. It's funny how the people like who think they understand AI can't detect AI at all. Like, you dislike something you don't understand at all. Someone else put, and I saw this comment earlier, and I thought this was actually pretty disingenuous. Someone put, if you're judging the validity of what you create by the amount of social media likes it gets, you're destined to be disappointed. To which I half agree. Social media shouldn't dictate how happy you are with your content. Again, you can be the best artist in the world, and people on social media might just not like it. But I will say it's a bit disingenuous to have a group where the intent of the group is to post your content and then say, oh, you shouldn't be disappointed when no one interacts with your content. It's like, well, if that's the case, then why am I on social media in the first place? The whole purpose of social media is to post content with the intent of getting attention. And usually the way to know if you're getting attention is for people to interact with that content. So if no one interacts with my content, then how do I know if I'm getting attention? And if I'm not getting attention, then what's the point of posting in the first place, right? It's like creating a painting and you want to sell it, but people say, well, if people don't buy it, it doesn't mean that you're doing a bad job. It's like, well, yeah, the point is to sell it. Like, obviously, if I'm not selling it, then I'm doing a bad job based on my standards. So no, it doesn't work that way. And so you see a lot of posts like this. Here's one more. Someone put, we don't like AI in a group for artists because people who use AI to make their images are not artists. And I'm going to stop right here because I actually disagree. I think there's this elitism with some artists, not all, but some artists, where they think that because they spent time to actually learn a skill, only they should have the right to call themselves something, or the right to believe that they're creative. To which I will say, I would consider a director an artist. Like, to me, the idea of art, the idea of like creativity, the idea of creating something is you have an idea, you have something in your head that doesn't exist in reality, and then you make that thing a part of reality. Now, the way you choose to do that is completely on you. It depends on your skills, depends on your temperament, whatever. For a director, you have ideas in your head. You can't draw, maybe. Maybe you can't even act. But maybe you hire people to do those things for you, and the creation you had in your head suddenly becomes reality. There are some people who are very creative, and they can't draw, they can't create things, but they hire other people to do commissions, and those people create the things for them. Does that make the original person that thought of the idea any less creative? I would say no. Does that make them not an artist? I would say no. They're still an artist because they still created art. Now, the way they went about creating art is through the use of a third-party person, an artist, to do it, but it doesn't change the fact that they are also an artist in their own way. Thinking of ideas makes you an artist. Thinking of an idea and actually putting forth the effort to make that idea a reality in whatever way you see fit, to me, makes you an artist. So I think the idea is that AI artists just sit in a room and just say like, create. And this machine just puts out like stuff, and that can happen. To which I would say, if you're just hitting create randomly, you're not an artist then, sure. But then I would say those people probably don't genuinely believe they are artists. Some might, but I think most people probably don't. But if you're someone who has a good idea and you've really sat there and like fleshed out the idea, but you really just can't draw, and AI is like the easiest thing for you to do because it's affordable and it's relatively fast and you're probably busy with other stuff, you might have a job, whatever, then yeah, I would 100% consider you an artist for using AI, assuming that the AI matches the thing that you had in your head. So I don't agree with that, saying that AI art isn't real art. It's like when people say like rap music's not rap music, or when like punk music's not real music. It's like, it's all music. Just because it's not your taste doesn't change the fact that it's still valid. I've heard that argument before. That's why I bring that up. I've heard people say, oh, only classical music is real music. Punk rock's not real music. Country music's not real music. Hip hop, rap, whatever, it's not real music. It's like, well, no, it's just not correct based on the general definition of music. And I know obviously music's different than art in this context, but hopefully you get the point that I was trying to make there. He finishes up by saying, maybe you need to come around to that reality before you make a value judgment about how people react to AI posts. And again, just to kind of wrap things up, normal artists hate AI so much that they don't understand, they shoot themselves in the foot, because my post had nothing really to do about AI art. It had more to do about supporting your fellow human artists, so that way AI art doesn't take over. But AI art's gonna take over because artists like this exist and they don't actually listen to logic. They don't distance themselves from their emotion. Now, there was one more post. I'm not gonna go put it up. If I can find it after, as I'm editing this video, I might share it. But someone made a good point, and they were pretty much saying that like a lot of artists, their whole identity is being an artist. And so AI art challenges that identity because it shows that other people can technically produce the thing that they thought only they could produce. And that's what makes them really mad, which I totally understand. And I think I've said something similar in the past. It's like your identity is being shattered because someone else is doing what you could do, arguably maybe better than you could do it, much faster than you can do it, with a fraction of the time and the effort and maybe even the money that you invested to learn this skill. I get the frustration. My genuine opinion, get the fuck over it. That's the way the world works. That's always how it's been. That's always how it's going to be. I'm sure there are plenty of people. I've heard stories about, and I could be wrong about this. I think I heard like Dali at some point. I could be wrong about the artist. Maybe it was Picasso. I don't know. They were painting and around the time where they were painting, photography was starting to become a thing. And people consider photographers not real artists because they didn't take the time to actually draw and paint like reality. They just took a picture of it, and in seconds, I don't know about back then, it probably wasn't seconds back then, maybe minutes or days, but much faster than a painter could paint, a photographer could produce a realistic image, like as realistic as it can get, because it's a photo. But as you can see, as time went on, people accepted that photography is a form of art. It's not something that is so as simple where you can just go up and take a picture. Like obviously any human can go up to another human or another thing with a camera, take a picture and call it a photo. And it is a photo, but there are different tiers of photography. There's some, like I have a camera, I have a really nice camera. The photos that I take are nowhere near as good as a professional photographer's photo. And I think we can all agree on that. Like a professional photographer's photos are significantly better than anything you and I can take, assuming you are not a professional photographer yourself. That's because it's a skill involved with it. There's a certain way that they understand like the way the lens works, the way lighting works, the way composition works. There's more to it than simply just taking a photo and pushing a button. I think the same is true with AI art. It's not the same. It's not just pushing a button. There are things that could be involved with it. I know for me personally, I've experimented with AI. The best types of AI art is when you take a sketch and like use a lot of great detail plus a sketch plus references that you found yourself or that you've created yourself to come up with things. That's the best type of AI art. And it's the least generic looking one. I think I would almost be willing to bet I could make AI art and not tell people that I made AI art, put them to the test, like almost like a Pepsi challenge. Like, can you detect the AI? And they wouldn't be able to. I can almost be willing to bet I could pull that off because some AI art, when you do it correctly, is indistinguishable from what a human can make. And I know people say, oh, you can put it into a tool, which I found those flawed too. I put like stuff that's not AI into AI detectors and it'll be like, oh, 90%, 98% AI. And it's like, literally is 0% AI, but do you? So they're not good. They're not like accurate. And I sense that they might just call everything AI just to satisfy the user. I don't know, but yeah, I've been yapping for a bit. Just wanted to kind of talk about this. I guess the overall moral to this video, if you're an artist out there, basically shut the fuck up about AI. Like, it's not going away. You're not stopping anyone from using it. Just do your own thing. Do you. Keep creating art if you're doing it for the sake of creating art. And if you're trying to get paid by doing it, then work faster. I don't know. But this whole like anti-AI movement only hurts you in the grand scheme of things. It literally only hurts you because any other artist that would be in support of you, like myself, won't be because you disincentivize them to be by getting mad at them, like you get mad at me, or by just ignoring them and not supporting them on their journey to become an actual artist. Does that make sense? So yeah, if you like the video, click the like button. If you dislike it, click the dislike button. I don't give a fuck. Leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you did like this and want to see more content like this, click the subscribe button. I got a lot of content just like this. But hope to see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.